Hello. So a couple videos ago I talked about e-business. Neutral on it. It's some people say it's a necessity. I think my stance on it is more depends on how well you set up your website. And I was more mainly complaining about how poorly a lot of people do set up their websites. But there is one faction of business which I think the internet might be ruining, and that is travel. I'm planning a trip in about a week, so this has been on my mind for a while. Just haven't decided how I was going to present it. Okay, so going to start on a tangent actually. Um, about a year ago, my barber died, and this was a real barber. Go into the shop, count how many people are there. You're next in line, basically. Four people there waiting, you're fifth. Everyone knows that. And so he died. I had to find a new place. Uh, Business shut down. And so went to a few places, and it's always, do you have an appointment? Because real barbershops you don't make appointments with, but apparently all the modern day, they all want you to have an appointment. And no, okay, so you can wait still. That's good. So I'm waiting. It's getting your haircut. I expect to wait, so I have no problem with this. Except that the people who have their appointments come running in now from time to time. So a guy gets there maybe a minute, no, actually less than a minute in many cases before their appointment. Yeah, I have an appointment. Okay, please wait. They sit down, pull out their phone, and they sit here for 30 seconds plugging away at their phone. Get their haircut, go charging out to their next appointment. I mean, that's bad. Not relaxed. Haircuts, you want to be a little relaxed when you get your haircut, in my opinion. And when you take a vacation, you want to be a little relaxed. And I noticed the last couple years there are more and more places, they want you to book in advance before you go. And I'm not talking about like, airlines and stuff like that. I'm talking this museum, this historical site. We want you to book in advance. Years past, you stood in line, you waited in line. If the line was long, you went and you looked at something else, and then you came back maybe later and tried this place. Now, again, more places, they want you to book in advance. So that means, okay, I booked in advance. My ticket's good for this time slot, so I got to get there by this time slot, which means I'm not relaxed. I've stood out in the rain waiting to get into a place. Had no problem with it. I was expecting to wait, and I knew I was going to get in. As opposed to, I know I'm going to get in, but I have to be here at this specific time, which means, I got to plan my lunch around that. I got to plan my other activities around that. And there's the next problem with this is, like I said, I go on vacation. I like to relax. I like to see some sights, but I'll spend maybe half a day watching television sometimes. And people say, why are you doing that? Because I'm here to relax. I'm not here to run around like an idiot trying to see everything. So get there. Yeah, I still buy some tickets in advance because that's the only way to do it. But I don't pack the entire holiday that way. And that's what some people do. It's like, okay, now, and you can see people doing this. They're sitting at the airport or whatever, and they got their itinerary made up of, we're pre-booked for this, and then this, and then this, and sometimes they didn't check to see how far away the things are, so they don't know how long they're going to be spending running across town. And I gotta wonder, do these people really enjoy their vacation or not? would rather go stand in line knowing that I set aside time to stand in line. If I don't want to stand in line, I can go and do something else. I can just take a walk. I can go back, watch TV in my hotel room. There are different things I can do to relax while waiting for my next event because I haven't crammed events back to back to back because I haven't tried to schedule things down to the last detail online before even showing up in the country. That's one thing. I think as convenient as it is to be able to book things online, I think people would enjoy actually having to wait a little bit of time to get into an event and not try to overbook everything. That's my opinion. Some people would disagree. But then there's actually getting there. So I am surprised. So, Ghosts. I've watched the American version, seen a few episodes of the English version. They got Pete. Pete was a travel agent. He died in the 1970s. And so that is one of the things they bring up from time to time is he still thinks travel agents are a thing. And life can't run without travel agents. How are you going to do all this stuff? This is one thing, yes, being able to book hotels online, being able to book your airfare online, that's convenient. I'll accept that as convenient. I am somewhat, not confused, curious. Why haven't some airlines got it to where you can book direct online with them? I mean, some probably do, but it's hard to find, or I haven't seen many. So I go online, I look up flights, and I get Trivago, or I get Expedia, or I get one of these other main sites. I don't get American Airlines or Delta. Now, it's nice to be able to get all the fares without having to go to separate sites. So, the big sites comparing airline prices and stuff like that is nice to some extent. Also, for like connecting flights, yes, if American or Delta or whatever, you can go directly there through their flights. That's great. But in some cases, you're going to have to switch to another airline. So I can see the big travel sites working well. Hotel sites, I generally prefer dealing with the hotel itself. And I mean the specific hotel, like, Hilton's nice, but I don't go to the Hilton site. I look for see if the Hilton in the area I'm going to has its own site. I try to book directly from them. Now, some people are going to say, well, wait a second. If you go to one of these travel sites, you can get discounts on your... Probably, yes. But I have to put up with poorly designed websites and stuff like that. Same goes with booking flights. It gives you flights that go where you want to go and when you want to go, but then you have to open all sorts of sub boxes just to see details of the flights and stuff like that. There's got to be a better way to do that. So again, there is a lot of convenience with being able to go online and book your flights or your hotel. So that's one thing. It sort of works well, but at the same time, the idea you're automatically want to shunt it off to one of these travel sites as opposed to being able to go directly to the hotel site in some cases, I don't like that. There can be a convenience with dealing directly with the hotel if you look for it. I will at times use the travel sites to narrow down my list of hotels, then look at the hotel sites directly. So I'm willing to put in a little extra work doing that because of what I believe is more convenient. Some people would disagree with my term, what I call convenient, but I think it is. So, I mean, that is it. The idea, though, the general idea that you're going to relax, but because you can do so much online in advance, you end up not relaxing as much as you planned on. I start to wonder at times, do you need a vacation from your vacation because of just poor planning at times? And I would say the answer is, for some people, the answer is yes. I've met people who it's like they're too tired from their vacation to do anything else when they get home. I'll usually take an extra day so I can like buy groceries and make sure things are in order, do laundry when I get home. But even people who do that, it's like they're still exhausted by the time they get home from their vacation because the vacation itself was too overpacked with things they wanted to do. And the internet made it easier for them to overpack things with. So that is it. Like I said, I am curious as to why or how long the travel industry is going to be able to suffer under this use of the internet. And are there going to be places which eventually just say, yeah, it's nice to have the convenience there, but we are not going to pander to the internet crowd as much, and we are going to get back to the people who want to take the time to actually wait in line? Because people who are expecting to wait in line are nicer than people who are expecting to be fast tracked through and having to wait for 30 seconds. So that's it. Like I said, I got to thinking about this because I am planning on a trip, and I just wondering. Every year I go places, and it seems like there's less you can do in person. There's more you have to pre-book, and to me, that doesn't make it as fun, as enjoyable, as restful. That's it. Have a nice day.